And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
I love when people take a theme which is just begging to be made into a game and make a game out of it. And that is what has happened here with Ants for Queen and Colony. This is a very, very light war game that has different ants, and you can see they're cardboard cutouts on plastic stands, moving around, gathering food, and of course, attacking one another. It's a very light war game, as I said, but it is entertaining, fun, not too short, and yet offers a decent amount of strategy. Look at the interesting board. Here we see a 3-player game set up. You can play 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2 is probably too difficult. Not too difficult, but it might take a long time before you really get in each other's faces. 3 and 4 is great. 5 and 6 is a little crowded, but playable. But I'm starting to think 3 and 4 is the optimal way to play the game. Each player simply starts with a queen, surrounded by some stacks of food. You can see this food are these green interlocking chips, and they also start in some various places around the board. The first thing each player is going to do on their turn is to draw a park life card. Now, these park life cards are really a crucial part of the game. Sometimes you'll get lucky or unlucky depending on what you want, and you'll draw a card like I just did that says all quiet. But for the most part, a card is going to say something like this: a living bug, jumpy cricket. And a bug is going to come on the board that is basically made out of food chips, and if a player wants to attack that bug, they're going to, if they want the food from that bug, they're going to have to attack the bug. So say, for example, that jumpy bug, it's your turn, and you get to bring out the jumpy bug. Each player starts with 3 of these cards that correspond to all the different locations on the board. So it's my turn, and I have A6, J3, B2, and I pick B2 for the jumpy bug. He comes out and lands here. He is a pile of food once he's killed. This bug needs a 7 to kill him, although the jumpy bug is a 5 when we find the right one. There we go. A 5 to kill that bug, and then I get to do the rest of my turn. The rest of my turn includes moving my ants that are on the board, if I have any, and then collecting food, or first collecting food, then moving ants, and then building new ants. In the beginning of the game, you don't have anything else to do except build new ants. So you spend your food that you have here, and you can spend 2 to build sarge ants, and you can spend 1 to build work ants. And so you have your workers, your pez ants, and you can build those outside your place. And you also have sarge ants, which are mostly there just to attack other players. Now, when you're putting these bugs out, and when you move them, peasants can move 1 space. Sergeants can move 2. However, as you make your peasants, you're building a supply line, and so if you put out a new peasant, or even a new sergeant, they can move all the way down the end of that supply line, and then move 1 off. So that's a quick way to attack with your sergeant, is to move all the way down the line, and then move 2 spaces away from the end of the line. And you can move each ant once, so you can rearrange your lines on your turn. So let's say I've rearranged my line like this. At the beginning of my next turn, I'm surrounding this pile of food with 3 peasants. So during my next turn, we are going to harvest 3 food from that pile, which is sent back home. And you're going to need to do that because you need food. Now, your sergeants are going to go around and try to kill these bugs here. And they'll do so by rolling a die, a special die that the sergeants have, which is an 8-sided die, which has a 0 on it, but also goes basically from 4 to 10 after that. Peasants have a smaller, weaker die that they'll use in defense. Sergeants can attack these bugs. Once the bug's killed, it simply becomes a pile of food. They can attack other sergeants, they can attack peasants, and if they can get to it, they can attack the queen. Combat's very simple. If it's a sergeant attacking another sergeant, or a sergeant attacking the queen, they both roll a red die. The higher die wins. If it's a sergeant attacking a peasant, the peasant rolls this blue die, which is not nearly as good. It only goes from 2 to 6, also has a 0 on it. But sometimes peasants are in the same area next to each other. They can defend themselves. They can roll multiple dice. But the game has a pretty interesting mechanic to take care of that. Their combined number, let's say for example here they roll a 6, 6, and a 5, that's 17. And the sergeant here has rolled an 8. They beat the sergeant, so they kill him. But he also kills every of those peasants with a number that's smaller than his number. So since they roll a 6, 6, 5, all three of the numbers are smaller than 8, so all three of them would die. Mutual destruction. So you can use more peasants for defense if possible, but at the same time you got to be careful because you can lose more because of that. What I like best about the game is these initial food drops. Here you see there's a food drop. You're going to be dropping a sandwich, which is 4 chips, so you get a pile of 4 chips and you drop it. But if you maneuver these drops right, whenever a drop lands, it kills whatever's there. So let's say, for example, I have the B3 card. Here comes the food drop, smash. That sergeant is out of the way. Now, yes, I put some food near my opponents, but I have killed him. If you run out of food, and sometimes food will become, well, scarce because of different things, the fountain in the middle of the board is unlimited food. You can always get food from getting that, but there is one of these Park Life cards which causes a flood and every ant next to the fountain is dead. There's also cards where it's more than just food dropping. There's the Great Foot, which squashes a space in every space next to it. So what you need to do is, you only have 3 of these cards here, and they're random, but you need to keep strategic ones in your hand and wait till you get a food drop or something like the Great Foot, and you can really cause a lot of devastation amongst your opponents. The game is all about killing the opponent's queen, and you can only do that if you get food back to your nest so that you can build more ants to go out and attack with. You run out of food, you run out of ants, you're going to lose. Defensive in this game does not work at all. You have to be offensive. And the game progresses till one person remains standing and all the other queens have been killed. Although in our group we've added a house rule that basically says once one queen ant has been killed, the game is over. Because we're not real big fans of player elimination. But that person loses and the person who killed the queen is the winner. I like ants. I like the artwork. I like the components. I like the theme. I like how all of it fits together. It's just a neat idea. Yes, there's a lot of luck in how the sergeants attack each other. There's luck in which Park Life cards you drop, although I would argue that with the spaces that you have, being able to drop on the different areas on the board, you control where those drop to some degree. So there is some strategy in that. But other than that, there's alliances. Don't attack me, I won't attack you. It all just fits together really well, and it takes a short amount of time. Maybe an hour and a half, which seems to be about the basic range for 90-minute to an hour, for 3-player to 4-player games. 90 minutes, entertaining. Teenagers are going to like it. Adults are going to like it. Don't take the game too seriously. It's not meant to be, but it's meant to be fun, and I'm going to say it really succeeds there.
Thanks for joining us today. For more written, audio, and video reviews, as well as the #1 board game podcast, check out the website at www.thedicetower.com. Until then, this is Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.